folks. There's this guy named Matt Gaetz, and Matt Gaetz has been in a little bit of a kerfuffle recently, largely because it came to the attention of people that his best friend engaged in sex trafficking, and at one point engaged in sex trafficking of children, and this best friend also allegedly hooked Matt Gaetz up with an underage girl. And that investigation and the ethics committee in Congress has been looking into it. It's been a pretty rough go of it lately, and especially because some of the latest news came out that Matt Gaetz attended a party where his BFF was trafficking sex and children. And Matt Gaetz's defense of this is essentially, oh, well, I might have been at that party, but I didn't engage in any of the sex trafficking of children. And that seems to be about it. That seems to be his statement. Here is his final response to the ethics committee that he posted yesterday. Dear Chairman Guest and Ranking Member Wild, your investigation into me has developed into a political payback exercise devoid of adequate due process, riddled with leaks, and now seeking deeply personal information that is of no business to Congress. It seems the fix is in. The committee has refused to establish an investigative subcommittee, as is customary, perhaps because doing so would have time-limited this investigation long ago, and diluted the influence of those on the full committee who are seeking revenge. Which, by the way, that would be McCarthy. McCarthy, who was ousted by Matt Gaetz as Speaker, and yeah. Basically, if it's kind of a situation of if you come for the king, you better not miss. McCarthy is exacting his vengeance. That is very
Matt
clear.
Gaetz? You mean that reptilian swamp creature from the Florida Everglades?
Whoa. Barabas Dantiak, first, thank you for the $5 dono. And second of all, I would never besmirch the name of Swamp Thing, okay? Swamp Thing is a treasure. And a much better person than Matt Gaetz will ever be. Let's see. This was understandably observed as unusual. Most shockingly, the committee's own membership has participated in funding a recent political campaign against me, which utilized the very smears that the committee now seeks to revive and phony validate. That's not a term, Matt. He's literally phony -validate. That's not a thing. Okay. In this investigation, I am being investigated and judged by my political opponents. This is Soviet. This investigation exists to do what the voters of my district won't: remove me from office. The committee's own membership tried to remove me from office via election. That failed. So this is the next iteration of that smear. Your correspondence of September 4th asks whether I've engaged in sexual activity with any individual under 18. The answer to this question is unequivocally no. You can apply this response to every version of this question in every forum. You ask whether I have illegally taken drugs. I have not used drugs which are illegal, absent some law allowing use in a jurisdiction of the United States. I have not used illicit drugs, which I consider to be drugs unlawful for medical or over-the-counter use everywhere in the United States. But interestingly, that definition does allow him to use some still pretty illicit drugs. That's not a no. That's not a no right there, which is pretty funny on its own. He did pot. No. Are you kidding me? Matt Gaetz doesn't just do pot, okay? Matt Gaetz is like Like he's built like every tech bro I've ever seen in my life who had a unhealthy reliance on cocaine. It's cocaine. It's cocaine. It's coke. He doesn't do meth. He's too fancy for meth. He does cocaine. Okay? You further asked for the basis for my claim of exoneration. On July 10th, 2024, I provided the committee dispositive evidence of my innocence by producing a smoking gun, contemporaneous, jailhouse writing, documents the plot to frame me, which includes both Joel Greenberg and his victim, two former federal agents. Interviewed the inmate who revealed this plot, hereinafter the jailhouse informant. Their memorandum is attached as Exhibit A. The jailhouse informant was in jail with Joel Greenberg in Orange County, Florida. Mr. Greenberg told the jailhouse informant that he planned to lie about me having sexual contact with a minor to reduce his own prison sentence. Mr. Greenberg informed the jailhouse informant that Mr. Greenberg's victim would be willing to adopt Greenberg's lie in hopes of future financial benefit. I provided the committee's written evidence that, according to the plan, she later sought that benefit. On information and belief, Greenberg's victim has enlisted her longtime friend and roommate in this endeavor.
Matt Gaetz is a reptilian shapeshifter from the Everglades. You thought that was Botox at the RNC? Nah girl, that's his disguise barely holding together.
Welcome, Raiders! Welcome! Needle Drop, thank you very much for the raid. Funny enough, we are actually going to get to a tweet from yours later. It's gonna help soften the blow for a truly horrible segment, but thank you for being the light in that segment. Welcome, folks. My name's Riverboat Jack. I talk about the news and politics. I'm a socialist. I'm a trans lady. I use she, her pronouns. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Hit the follow button. Pull up a seat. We're just going over Matt Gaetz's final statement about that's essentially I did not diddle kids. And I'm not fully convinced by it, to say the least. Anyway. On information and belief, Mr. Greenberg had arranged for his victim to meet with an attorney of Greenberg's choosing to orchestrate the plan to get Greenberg's victim to lie about me. A verified Florida civil lawsuit familiar to the committee alleges that Greenberg texted another person that he was paying for his victim's attorneys. A copy of this text message is attached, here too, as Exhibit B. This text occurred prior to Greenberg's admission to the jailhouse informant and further corroborates his testimony. A copy of the letter from the jailhouse informant to my attorneys is attached, here too, as Exhibit C. Matt Gaetz's final stand, quite literally. This wasn't the first, or even second time Greenberg coordinated false smears of others in this manner. He was initially... Let me be clear. If this was true, Greenberg would be getting charged to hell and back with this. Like, this would be a thing that he would actually face repercussions for. But okay. He was initially indicted for attempting to falsely smear a teacher at a local high school as a pedophile. Thereafter, he was separately found by federal law enforcement to have possessed child pornography that he intended to use to frame his own attorney. See Exhibit D. On information and belief, the DOJ never charged Greenberg for the possession of this child pornography because it would have understandably eviscerated Green's credibility as a witness against me, which the DOJ's true goal had been this entire time. I do have to say, like... Oh, no. First true version. No, this is exactly... This is the congressional version of do not diddle kids. And if you don't know what I'm talking about... Here we go. There we go.
I didn't realize it was even a conversation. I always assumed we would be heavily involved.
This is bad. We got to
Matt
definitely
Gaetz right
write
now.
a song about how we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids. It's no good diddling kids.
There is no quicker way for people to think that you are diddling kids than by writing a song about it.
You got to write a song that says, "Ooh, I wouldn't do it with anybody younger than my daughter. No little kid's got to be big, older than my wife, younger than my daughter," something like that.
Don't write a song about that.
No, I'm cloudy. I got a headache.
Amazing stuff. Amazing work being done by Matt Gaetz, reviving old Always Sunny bits. God. The DOJ leaked false allegations about me to the New York Times, investigated those claims rigorously, cajoled witnesses to conform to their narrative, and then ultimately knew they did not have a chargeable case. The very people who have lied to the Ethics Committee were also lying to them. On information and belief, the DOJ investigated allegations regarding violations of the Mann Act, sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, obstruction of justice, illegally owning a marijuana business, taking bribes, campaign finance violations, and violations of federal drug laws. None of these investigations resulted in charges against me, and with good reason. I am innocent. I am not convinced of that at all. Oh, God. I believe the Biden Justice Department leaked to the New York Times in 2021 to impact the behavior and testimony of witnesses. My basis for this belief is a recording of Joel Greenberg from prison, where he claims the DOJ told him that the New York Times piece put him in a golden position. A copy of this recording can be provided to the committee upon request. I do have to say, it is interesting that both your main source of information is supposedly this guy who lies about everything, according to you. So, like, that doesn't seem to really line up, you know? Like, oh, you don't trust him when he's saying things, you know, in this way, but trust him over here. He's only telling the truth in these recordings I have that make him look bad. Is Gaetz claiming that Greenberg turned himself into authorities and been in prison for pedophilia just to make Gaetz look bad? Yes. Just to make Gaetz look bad, and also to, you know, he's now cooperating to get a lesser sentence. I serve on the House Judiciary Committee, and the Biden Justice Department loathes me. I ask the most penetrating questions. Dude. Okay, I have an English degree, all right? I have an English degree.
I want to see Blinken in The Hague so badly.
Me too. He deserves it. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate it. But if you are writing an entire notice to the House Ethics Committee about how you didn't have sex with someone, don't in that document, don't use the word penetrate. Don't use the word penetrate. Don't use the word penetrate. Okay, this is like when we watched that video the other day and Susan just kept bringing up how, in order to, you know, Susan, the serial killer who fed her victims to pigs, just kept bringing up feeding people to pigs after you've killed them. You know, just don't. Don't use that word. God. Frequently embarrassing them publicly. See attached Exhibit E. The combination of the natural bias of the Biden Justice Department against me and their leaking of false allegations about me and their ultimate decision not to charge me is a clear exoneration, as was widely observed. An additional basis for my claim of exoneration is the conviction and criminal sentence of Stephen Alford, who attempted to shake down my family based on the very same false claims that the committee attempts to refurbish for political payback. Mr. Alford was working on this criminal scheme with former DOJ official David McGee. Suspiciously, the New York Times published the night before Mr. McGee was about to receive a 7-figure wire transfer from my family, at the direction and in cooperation with the FBI, to cement his criminal culpability. Mr. McGee was never charged. I I do want to say, okay, so this was this attempt to blackmail you was was almost successful. You had to bring up that it was almost successful, like as in like people were like, "Hey, we know about you diddling kids, Matt Gaetz. Pay us money or else we will tell everyone." And like usually if someone tries to blackmail you about something you didn't do, it doesn't matter. You know, like open and shut case. Yeah, I didn't do that. I have a million different alibis. But your family was about to pay 7 figures to try and bury that. Not millions of dollars to bury that story. That doesn't speak well of your innocence in this case. I feel like bringing this up only makes you look worse. Your September 4th correspondence to me reveals your investigation is about more than enforcing house rules, and is uncomfortably nosy. You ask in part whether I've had sex with a list of adult women over the past 7 years. The lawful consensual sexual activities of adults are not the business of Congress. Neither is a detailing of medications I have taken under the color of law. All of those very legal medications. Also, notice the framing of the question about who he's having sex with. List of adult women over the last 7 years. I feel like that phrasing is very deliberate, largely because you could, like 7 years ago, some of those women who are now adults would have been underage girls. Just spitballing that. Just spitballing. Oh, really? Yep. This question about my sexual history reveals a sinister motive of the committee to harm me and those who have had any association with me. To date, I have voluntarily produced tens of thousands of records and answered many of your relevant questions. Interestingly, though, not all of your relevant questions over several months. But asking about my sexual history as a single man with adult women is a bridge too far. Asking about my sexual history with people who are definitely adults, it's too far. I will no longer voluntarily participate in this regrettable abuse of the committee. I understand that the committee has issued, but not served, a subpoena for my testimony. I explicitly reserve all of my rights pursuant to House rules and the U.S. Constitution. Which, is just him saying he's no longer going to participate in the committee. Like, guys, do you know how bad that looks? If you stop responding to Congress, do you know how guilty that makes you look? My sexual history with people who were above the age of consent in the jurisdiction I was in. I think we should start calling him Representative Disrespect. Oh, I like it. I like it, Paladin. God. Adult human women. Foxy Cheshire, thank you for being a member for the past 4 months. I appreciate it. Also, Dragonfly, thank you for, wait, I think I think I thanked you for that. I'm sorry. But yeah, Matt Gaetz is not looking very good. Now, I will say, the guy he's talking about and name-dropping throughout this, Joel Greenberg, he's also a very bad person, okay? But, they were BFFs for a very long time. Matt Gaetz fully knew exactly what Greenberg was about. In my opinion. Gaetz was always sus. Yeah, I mean, he's been sus for a while now. Yeah. All right. Anyway, end of segment. Matt Gaetz just looks hella sus. That's basically where I'm at with this. I don't think he's gonna face real repercussions for this. It'd be nice if he did, but frankly, the House Ethics Committee is investigating it. He's not gonna go to jail, unfortunately. He's a two-time kitty diddler. True. But anyway, it does seem a shame that even if the House Ethics Committee finds that he likely did these things, not fortunate.